Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier kicking off the Pick 5 at Keeneland on Saturday with the Grade 3 Commonwealth Stakes. Our coverage presented by DRFBet. Sign up for a new account, get a $150 bonus. Pretty easy. DRF.com/join is where you need to go. Type in the promo code TV150. Let's take a look at this field of sprinters. They're going to go 7 furlongs as race number 6 at Keeneland on Saturday. We are expecting some wet weather. The number 6 Limousine Liberal, 6-5 on the morning line, is 2 for 2 on a wet track. This is his seasonal debut, however, and while I've always liked Limousine Liberal, 6-5 seems light.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, to me, Limousine Liberal is a fascinating just study in the way that he's been handled, because he's run races that would make him one of the best sprinters in the country, yet the connections have, I don't want to say handled him with kid gloves, but boy, they have really been, let's say, picky with where they decide to run this horse. Coming off of a layoff, I think this is an understandable starting off point, and I would imagine it'll be the same thing as we saw last year, where this race leads in to the Churchill Downs on the Kentucky Derby undercard. But look, if he runs one of his best races, obviously he's a major player in here.
You're not supposed to rate him off of his last race, his final start as a 5-year-old, a bet on Sunshine, where he was 1-2 and he just tracked a slow pace and was simply better than those horses. You're going to do it over his overall body of work, which is very, very good. And again, on a wet track, he seems to improve by leaps and bounds. But you might be right. This could be a means to an end. He was 3rd in the Commonwealth in his seasonal debut last year. Timeform US, though, has a pace projector that could be kind to Limousine Liberal. That blue bar indicates this race might favor horses on or near the early lead. Limousine Liberal could be sitting 2nd in the early portion of this race off the number 3 Westwood, a beautifully bred son of Bernardini out of a shadow. He popped a giant buyer 2 starts back at Aqueduct. A lot of folks thought that he was really on the best part of the track that day, the rail. He came back in his most recent start, and he was life and death to hold off the old warrior Spartiatus. Westwood is lightly raced. He's never been off the board, and he could get a great situation.
Yeah, if you believe the Timeform US pace projector, boy, this race goes through Westwood and Nerad Ortiz, and then also it helps a horse like Limousine Liberal, where you could be sitting off of a horse that needs to prove that he actually fits as far as class is concerned in Westwood. I don't know about you. The non-winners of 2, other than it hasn't come back spectacular, there's a part of me that wonders, once he hit the front, did he just kind of throw it into neutral and wait for someone else to come to him? Because I never really thought he was going to lose the race, but I expected him to do more than he did. And you saw how well he ran 2 starts back, and that race has come back pretty well. So I think Westwood is better than what that non-winners of 2 race would suggest, but at the same time, this is going to be the acid test.
We do have a positive formulator fact for his tremendous trainer, Kieran McLaughlin. Last out winners in dirt sprints. These are older horses making the first start off a layoff of 45 days or greater. 47% winners, a $3 and change ROI. That 7th furlong might prove to be the test for Westwood. He had a big lead 3 back at Aqueduct. He was run down by a good one in Flash Trading. Let's talk about some of the other logical contenders in this race. I want to talk about the number 10, First Premio. I like the fact that he's cutting back to 7 furlongs. He's coming out of that mineshaft handicap where the player just went out there and set a nice easy pace. First Premio, I thought, had to do a lot of work chasing the player into the turn. He was still in the thick of things for an exactive position at about the 16th pole before being tired. Mark Casse won the Commonwealth last year going route to sprint with Awesome Slew. He's going to try it here with First Premio.
Yeah, interesting horse. Still lightly raced. You could possibly see another forward move in here. I agree. I like the turn back. Got a little bit tired at the end. He faced arguably better company in that most recent run. Obviously, unfortunately, the player got hurt. But you see names like Thirst for Life, who is in good form at the moment, and Scuba, who old hard-hitting veteran. That's really what his game is, long-distance races on the dirt. I think this horse is interesting from that outside post if he gets some pace. Conquest
Windy City goes out for Michael Maker. We know Maker for claiming horses, moving them up on turf. He claimed Conquest Windy City for 62.5, and all this horse did last time out was beat Mind Your Biscuits, who came back to win the Dubai Golden Shaheen for the 2nd year in a row last week. I think the argument could be made that Conquest Windy City, when he beat Mind Your Biscuits, took advantage of a slow pace on a really speed-biased track.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This was the horse that led me to look at Mind Your Biscuits and say, no shot going over to Dubai. And all he did was come back and run arguably the best race on Dubai World Cup night. Conquest Windy City, I think he had that intensely speed-friendly track, and he set soft fractions on the front end. I think it was a perfect storm. This is the kind of horse for me that I'd be playing against here.
Let's talk about the number 9, Awesome Saturday. The last time we saw Awesome Saturday, this Keeneland graduate on dirt, it was in the Indiana Derby, a very productive race. Not only did it produce 3 next out winners, but the Indiana Derby winner itself, IRAP, came back to run 3rd in the Travers with a triple-digit Beyer speed figure. Interesting that we've seen 2 turf starts to kick off the campaign. I wonder if he's going to be sitting on tilt in his 3rd start back at a price.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's, to me, sort of the horse that I want to use on, as well as some other runners in here, the more logical horses. I liked him last year as a 3-year-old. He's still a little bit green, figuring some things out. Visually, he was impressive in a number of starts, and I agree. Turn him back, turf to dirt. This has been a positive move for Calhoun in the past. I like him in here. Shut
the Box's last win came over a wet track at Keeneland. We're expecting a similar situation on Saturday. He is another turn back. We like those at 7 furlongs, especially those with tactical speed. And it's not like his Beyer speed figures are really completely out of this. He's run Beyers of 90 or better in 3 of his last 4 races.
Yeah, and I think a low 90 is probably what it'll take to win this race on that turn back in distance. If he can sit just within shouting range of those leaders on the front end, I think he's got an interesting play in here.
Can you say that the number 1 Heartwood is simply dirtied up? They ran him on a synthetic surface last time out against a synthetic lover and well-abled who ran away and hid in that forego. 2 starts back, he was simply overmatched against one of the better sprinters in the country, City of Light and the Malibu. You take those races out of the equation, this horse was getting good in Ohio.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe all of a sudden you get that sort of move forward in his first start off of a little bit of a layoff. The problem is I feel like that run at Mahoning Valley 3 back, even if he moves forward slightly, I think he's going to need to up his game probably 6, 7, 8 Beyer points. I'm not sure that we're going to see that here.
The 7 Crewman finished ahead of him at Turfway on the synth last time out. He is only 1 for 13 on fast dirt, 0 for 1 on a wet track. He might just be better on synth and could be waiting for Arlington.
I was going to say, I wonder if this is let's just get a race into him and get ready and wait until they open up in Chicago.
Mr. Lucas takes a shot with Warriors Club off of a disappointing performance in the Hot Springs last time out. 2-back earned a 92 Beyer, which would be good enough to win, but that's been the story of this horse's career, kind of an in-and-outer.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a part of me that looks at it, look at his overall body of work. I wonder if he just loves Saratoga. It seems like that's where he does his best running. I'll wait till he goes up to the Spa.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Commonwealth Stakes. I chalked out with Limousine Liberal. I would not take him at 6 to 5, but I would use him in the pick 5, certainly. I'm really interested in your horse, though, as the value play, the number 2, Behavioral Bias. Al Stahl does such a great job with his horses, and this horse is a neck and a nose away from bringing a 5-race win streak to the party, and you can argue everything went against him last time out.
Yes, certainly. You know, that day at the fairgrounds, if you believe Timeform US, they had that color-coded as an intensely speed-friendly racetrack. This horse was coming from 3 or 4 lengths off of it, and also Timeform US had those fractions throughout color-coded blue, meaning they were favoring horses that were forwardly placed. I thought Miguel Mena did everything he possibly could. He got this horse into the run, tried to push on him on the far turn. He finished really well down the center of the racetrack, only to lose by a neck. That race has come back so far. Only 1 horse has come back to run, but it happened to be Win Time, the winner, and he came back to earn a 101, just losing to Whitmore down at Oaklawn. So I think there's reason to believe that this horse can make a move forward, take another step up here. Al Stahl is very, very good. We've talked about that. I think the concern for me is where's he going to be positioned in the race, because I don't want him to let Limousine Liberal get out there. I don't want him to let the horse just to his outside Westwood get too far ahead. I think he needs to be close and be right there with those 3. And if that's the case, I think those 3 could easily go 1, 2, 3 around the racetrack in some order.
But we've probably seen Limousine Liberal's best. It's likely we have not seen Behavioral Bias's best. This will only be start number 9. I think he's got enough tactical speed to stay within range, especially if the pace is slow, as Timeform US is expecting it. Limousine Liberal, my top pick. I went 6, 5, 10, and 3, but I want to use Behavioral Bias a lot in the pick 5. You're going with Behavioral Bias on top. Again, if you're playing the pick 5, if you're playing the Keeneland card, if you're playing the Bluegrass, no better way than with DRF Bet. Sign up, getting a $150 bonus immediately. DRF.com/join is where you need to go. Promo code TV150. An approximate post time for the Commonwealth, 4 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.